Eleanor, stay with me. Don't close your eyes. The voice wasn't meant for me. That was the first thing I understood. I didn't drink it. My words landed clearly, almost too calmly. She did. Caleb's fingers closed around my wrist. Firm. Urgent. Mom, this isn't the moment. It is. I eased my arm free without force. 5 minutes ago, you told me to drink the milk. He exhaled sharply. That's not what matters right now. It's the only thing that matters. Maria was already on the floor beside the couch, counting breaths under her breath, one hand hovering near the woman's shoulder without touching. She's breathing, she said, but barely. Call for help. I said, I already did. They're coming. Caleb turned toward me, studying my face too closely. Are you feeling anything lightheaded, weak? No. I let the word hang, and that's what scares you. His jaw tightened. You're 71. Shock can take time. I've lived through shock. I said, this isn't it. Maria rose slowly. Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't. She was never supposed to drink it. Caleb snapped toward her. You spilled it. That's on you. Her gaze didn't drop. It wasn't an accident. Silence followed. Heavy, sharp, careful. He warned. She knows exactly what she's saying. I said before she could speak again. A harsh sound tore from the couch. Not sleep, not pain, something worse. Caleb stepped back without realizing it. Mom, he said softly now. Please, let the doctors handle this. You wanted me asleep. I said. You repeated it, like a reminder. That's not fair. No. I watched him closely. What you did isn't. A single laugh escaped him, hollow and wrong. You're imagining things. I didn't drink the milk. My voice never rose. She did, and she's the one convulsing. Maria met my eyes. I told you not to. I listened. Sirens cut through the air. Caleb straightened, already composed. Hands empty, face arranged. I stayed where I was, heart steady, mind clear. That glass was never meant for her, and I was still alive because someone chose to spill it. The story you are about to hear is a work of fiction created by the Her Chains channel team, based on real-life situations to convey lessons about family, emotions, and human values. All characters and events are illustrative. How much of your life would you hand over to your child without question? Caleb had always known how to sound reasonable. I just need a little more time. He told me months earlier, leaning against the kitchen counter as if the house were still his. The market's been unpredictable. You said that last year. I reminded him. And the year before, that was different. He replied quickly, I was rebuilding. I nodded then. I always nodded. Rebuilding sounded responsible. Temporary sounded harmless. I raised you to stand on your own. I said once, carefully, not to circle back. He smiled. The same smile he'd worn since childhood whenever he wanted to soften a boundary. I am standing. I'm just not done yet. There it was. Not done yet. When his father died, Caleb was barely in his 30s. I told myself grief delayed maturity. When he lost his job, I told myself the economy had teeth. When he moved back in, I told myself it was only for a season. I'll pay you back, he said the first time I covered his debts. You know I will. I know. I said. I wanted to believe it. The second time, he didn't promise. He just waited until I signed the check. You don't need it, he said gently, like a fact. You planned well. You always do. I had. For him. By the third time, so soon. The requests weren't requests anymore. They arrived as assumptions. You'll handle this one, he said once, already standing up. I'll figure the rest out. I watched him move through the house like it still belonged to him, opening drawers, adjusting things, making small decisions without asking. I worry about you, I told him that night. Not about money. About direction. He laughed under his breath. You worry too much. Mom, that's what you do, what I do, I said quietly. is keep us afloat. And I appreciate that, he replied, already distracted. That's why I trust you. The word landed heavier than he meant it to. Trust. I mistook his dependence for closeness. I mistook familiarity for safety. And somewhere along the way, without a single argument to mark the moment, my caution gave way to habit. I loved him. So I stopped counting the cost. What routines make you feel safest at night? I took my pills in the same order I always had. Blood pressure first. Then the small white tablet for my heart. I reached for the glass of water, and Caleb gently moved it aside. I've got it, he said, already turning toward the stove. That's not necessary. I told him. He glanced over his shoulder, smiling too quickly. It's nothing. You should sit. I stayed where I was. You don't usually do this. I'm here tonight, he replied. That's all. The sound of milk warming filled the space between us. I watched his hands. He measured carefully, slower than needed, like he wanted me to notice the effort. You don't need to hover, I said. I'm not hovering. He answered. I'm helping. He brought the glass to me himself. Not Maria. Him. He set it down within my reach and waited. Before you lie down, he added. It helps you sleep. I studied the glass. Since when do you care how I sleep? His smile tightened. Since you started complaining about waking up tired. That was one time. And it stuck with me. He said, drink it while it's warm. I lifted the glass. The smell was familiar, but not exactly right. Thicker, maybe, or sharper. I took a small sip. Caleb's eyes stayed on my face. It tastes different, I said. He shrugged. Different brand. Same thing. I held the glass a moment longer than usual. Maria didn't make this. I did. He said. Is that a problem? No. I replied. Just unexpected. You don't like surprises anymore. He said lightly. That's not true. You used to, he said, stepping closer. When I was a kid, you loved them. I took another sip. The taste lingered in a way I couldn't place. Not bad, just unfamiliar. You should finish it, he said. It'll knock you right out. The way he said it made my fingers tighten around the glass. Give me a minute, I said. He didn't move away. It's better if you drink it now. I met his eyes. The smile was still there, but it felt practiced, held too long, waiting for something. I lowered the glass back to the table. I said, give me a minute. His jaw shifted, just slightly. Don't let it cool, he said. I kept my hand on the glass. And for the first time that night, I didn't lift it again. Who sees the things you never think to look for? Maria didn't announce herself when she entered the room. She never had. That night, I noticed anyway. You don't have to stay up, I told her, but it's late. She stopped near the doorway. I'm not tired. Caleb didn't look at her. We're fine here. Maria's eyes flicked to the table, to the glass, then back to me. Do you need anything else? Mrs. Whitmore. Her voice was steady. Her hands were not. I'm fine, I replied. You can go rest. She didn't move. Caleb shifted his weight. Maria? Yes, she answered. Immediately. Too immediately. You can head out, he added. I've got my mother. The way he said it made something tighten in her expression. Not fear, calculation. I'll just clean up first, she said. It won't take long. There's nothing to clean, he replied. Her gaze stayed on the glass. There will be. I watched the exchange stretch between them. Words chosen carefully. Too carefully. Is something wrong? I asked. Maria looked at me then. Really looked. Her mouth opened. Closed. Then opened again. Have you been sleeping well? Caleb laughed softly. She's fine. I wasn't asking you. Maria said. Silence followed. Caleb's smile didn't reach his eyes. I sleep, I answered. Why? She nodded once. Just checking. Caleb stepped closer to her. You're hovering. She didn't step back. I pay attention. That's your job, he said. Not to interrogate. Her jaw tightened. My job is to keep this house running. And mine, he replied, is to make decisions. Something passed between them then, old, unfinished. I spoke before either of them could continue. Maria's been here longer than you. Caleb turned to me. That doesn't mean she gets to question me. Maria's eyes dropped. Finally, I didn't mean any disrespect. You didn't answer my question, I said. She hesitated. Then, quietly, I've noticed changes. Caleb's head snapped toward her. In what? She lifted her eyes again. In habits, in routines, in whose I asked. She swallowed. His. The word landed like something fragile breaking. Caleb exhaled sharply. You're imagining things. Maria's voice stayed calm. I don't imagine. Her gaze returned to the glass. She didn't touch it. She didn't look away. And for the first time that night, I understood she had been watching far longer than I had. What if an accident wasn't an accident at all? Maria moved before I understood why. Her elbow caught the edge of the table. The glass tipped. Milk slid fast. Then everywhere across the wood, over my hand, onto the floor. Oh no, Caleb muttered, already stepping back. Maria dropped to her knees. I'm so sorry. Her hands were quick, clumsy on purpose. A towel appeared from nowhere. She wiped my fingers first. Not the table. Not the spill. It's fine, I said. It's just milk. Her head lowered as if in shame. Her mouth came close to my wrist. Her voice didn't shake. Don't drink it. She breathed. Trust only me. The words landed clean. No panic. No plea. Instruction. Caleb straightened. What are you doing? I slipped. Maria replied. Louder now. I'm cleaning. You ruined it, he said. Irritation sharp. Be careful. She didn't look at him. She kept wiping my hand until my skin felt dry. Then warm. Her fingers pressed once. Firm. Like a punctuation mark. I pulled my hand back slowly. It's all right. Caleb reached for another glass. I'll get you more. No, I said. The word came out before I softened it. I don't need it. He paused. You barely touched it. I'm not thirsty. He searched my face. You should be. Maria stood, folding the towel with deliberate care. I'll take care of this, she said, lifting the broken glass. Caleb shook his head. Leave it. She didn't. She carried it away as if it were fragile in a different way. I noticed the milk on the floor hadn't reached my shoes. I noticed my hand was steady. I noticed Caleb watching me instead of the mess. You okay? He asked. I am, I replied. You can go. He hesitated. You want me to stay? I want to rest. Maria returned. Empty-handed. She didn't meet my eyes this time. She didn't need to. I sat back. My palms open on my lap. My voice even. Accidents happen, I said. And then I did nothing at all. Is hesitation sometimes the only thing that keeps you alive, Caleb? Didn't leave. He stood near the counter, arms crossed, watching me as if I might change my mind if he waited long enough. The silence stretched, heavy with things neither of us said. You should finish it, he said at last. Milk goes bad if it sits. I'm aware, I replied. I'm also tired. That's why I made it. You made it, I repeated. You've mentioned that. He took a step closer. You didn't even thank me. I did. I said, earlier. He exhaled through his nose. You always do this. You stall. I decide. I corrected. There's a difference. He reached for the glass still standing on the table. The one Maria hadn't taken away. I placed my hand over it. Light, but firm. I'll handle that, I said. His fingers hovered, then withdrew. You're being difficult. I'm being careful. He laughed softly. The sound stripped of humor. Since when? Since now. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. Mom, you need sleep. You've been forgetful lately. I remember everything you've asked me for, I said, and everything I've given. That's not what I meant. It's what I heard. He straightened. Drink it. Then we'll both rest. The insistence was no longer disguised as concern. It pressed forward, testing. I said I'm not thirsty. He shook his head. You never were. Until you were. I lifted the glass, not to drink, just enough to move it away from his reach. I'll have it later. When I'm ready. His jaw worked. You're making this into something it isn't. I held his gaze. You're trying too hard. He stepped back then, hands open. Fine, do whatever you want. I will. After he left the room, Maria appeared without a word. I slid the glass toward her. Not all the way, just enough. She nodded once and brought me a clean container, wrapped carefully, like something worth saving. I didn't drink the milk. I kept it. And in that small act, quiet and unnoticed, I chose myself. What happens when the truth shows itself before you're ready? The sound came first, a sharp intake of breath that didn't finish. Maria was closer than I was. She turned just in time to catch the glass as it slipped from Caleb's hand and shattered against the floor. She's not breathing right, Maria said. Caleb stared at the woman on the couch. She just needs air. Her fingers clawed at nothing. Her body stiffened, then jerked once, hard. Call for help, I said. Caleb hesitated. Too long. Then he reached for his phone. I told you not to drink that, Maria said, her voice tight now. I didn't. The woman gasped. I only took a sip. A sip was enough. I felt it settle in my chest, cold and absolute. Minutes, not hours. I had known it the moment Maria spilled the glass. Stay with me, Maria urged, kneeling. Breathe. Caleb finally spoke into the phone. His voice was even. Too even. Yes. She collapsed. No, she's conscious. Barely. I watched his face. No shaking hands. No panic. Just calculation. She'll be fine, he said, lowering the phone. You're overreacting. Her body convulsed again. Harder this time. That's not overreacting, I said. That's poison. His eyes flicked to me, just for a second, then away. You don't know that. Maria looked up at me. The fear in her eyes wasn't surprise. It was confirmation. I warned you, she said quietly. I know. The sirens cut through the air outside. The sound made the woman sob once before her body went slack. Caleb stepped back, hands raised slightly, as if distancing himself from the scene mattered. I didn't do this. I didn't answer him. I counted instead, 1 minute, 2, 3. If I had drunk the milk, I would be the one on that couch. And my son would be standing exactly where he was now. What if the signs were always there, but you ignored them? Maria didn't speak until the room emptied and the door closed behind the paramedics. They'll keep her alive, she said. But that wasn't meant for her. I sat down slowly. Tell me. She stood across from me, hands folded tight. I saw him weeks ago, late, after you went to bed. Doing what? Standing by the counter with the milk. She didn't look away, holding a small bottle. Clear, no label. My chest tightened. You didn't say anything. I tried. She said, not with words, with timing, with staying close. Why not tell me outright? She swallowed. Because he warned me. He said if I spoke, you would think I was confused, or bitter, or trying to take advantage. I closed my eyes once. He knows how to use doubt. He learned it from watching, she said. Watching you protect him. The room felt smaller. I pressed my palm flat against the table. He's in debt. She nodded. More than you think. Loans he can't explain, payments he can't miss. And he thought that if you slept, Maria said carefully, you wouldn't wake up, and everything would pass to him quietly. My voice stayed even. You're saying this wasn't the first time? She shook her head. I think it was gradual. Small amounts. Enough to make you tired. Enough to make you question yourself. The dizziness. The mornings when my hands shook. The afternoons I blamed on age. I thought I was slowing down. I said, you were being weakened, she replied. Silence settled between us. Heavy but clean. He chose tonight because you argued earlier, she added. Because you didn't sign what he wanted. I opened my eyes. So this was the end. Yes. I reached for the container Maria had wrapped so carefully. The milk was still inside, untouched. I trusted him. I said, you trusted love, she corrected. He used it. I looked at her then. Really looked. You saved my life, she shook her head. You listened. The truth didn't arrive all at once. It aligned. Piece by piece, habit by habit. And when it finally settled, I understood something I had refused to see. I hadn't been losing control. It had been taken. What do you do when love and survival demand different choices? Caleb stood near the doorway when the room went quiet again. No sirens. No movement. Just us. You don't have to make this worse, he said. I'm not, I replied. I'm making it accurate. He stepped forward, lowering his voice. You're upset. Anyone would be. I'm clear, I said. That's the difference. Maria placed the wrapped container on the table between us. Caleb's eyes flicked to it, then away. That's nothing, he muttered. Throw it out. No, I said. We're done throwing things away. He laughed once, thin and brittle. You think you know what happened? I know what didn't happen. I said, I didn't drink it. He folded his arms. You're listening to her now. I'm listening to facts. His jaw tightened. She's been watching me. You told her to. I never had to. Maria said quietly. You weren't careful. Caleb turned on her. You wanted this. She didn't flinch. I wanted her alive. I picked up my phone. I've already called. His eyes widened. Called who? People who don't lie to protect blood. I said. He shook his head. You're overreacting. This can be handled privately. You wanted privacy. I said. That's why you chose night. His voice rose. I didn't poison anyone. You prepared it. I said. You pressured me. And when it went wrong, you didn't panic. That doesn't prove anything. It proves intent. I replied. And the rest will prove pattern. He stepped closer. Hands open now. I needed help. You needed control. I'm your son, and I'm still alive. I said. That's not negotiable. Silence stretched between us. He searched my face, looking for the woman who used to soften. She wasn't there. You'll ruin everything, he said. No, I replied. I'm preserving it. The knock at the door came next. Firm, official. Maria didn't move. Neither did I. Caleb did. And as he reached for the handle, I understood something fully for the first time. Choosing myself didn't cost me a son. It revealed who he had already become. What if surviving isn't the hardest part living afterward as Maria set the box on the table between us? The lawyer called again. I know, I said. Tell him I'll be there tomorrow. She hesitated. You don't have to rush. I'm not rushing, I replied. I'm moving. She studied my face, searching for something brittle. Are you all right? I'm steady, I said. That's new. We worked side by side without speaking for a moment. When she finally broke the silence, her voice was careful. They asked if you wanted to see him. No, I said. The word came easily. There's nothing left to say. He's still your son. He made his choice. I replied, I made mine. She nodded once. Then we'll proceed. I repeated, and let it stand. Later, as the paperwork lay spread out, Maria paused. There's one more thing. Yes. They asked how you want me listed. As what? She swallowed. Employee, caregiver, or partner. I said, if you'll have it. Her breath caught. I don't know what to say. Say yes, I replied. Say you're staying. I never planned to leave, she said softly. That's why I trust you. The house felt different after that. Quieter, but not empty, clean, without being stripped of memory. When the call came confirming the arrangements, I listened without interrupting. When it ended, I turned to Maria. We start fresh, I said. She smiled, small and real. Together, I slept that night without milk, without routine, without fear. In the morning, Maria poured coffee for both of us and slid one cup across the table. To being alive, she said. To knowing who stands with you, I replied. I didn't lose a son that night. I lost an illusion, and in its place I kept my life.